What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 most common wide receiver bad habits that you could fall into, okay? So these are 3 things you guys don't want to do. We're going to be talking about how it doesn't get you separation, why some people actually teach some of these bad habits, and why ultimately it's just a bad thing to do. So I hope this video gives you guys some value and you learn a couple things about just route running and how you guys can be more efficient. But also, fellas, today only on our website, Friday only, we're having a 50% off sale on our 20 press releases program, okay? So what you'll get access to, this is a 48-minute long video where we talk about 20 different press releases, but we don't just say, hey, do this release. It's where we break down step by step of each release, the technical points, all the specific things that I don't even talk about in these videos, right? And then what we're going to be breaking down is when to use those releases and a specific drill to work on each one. So it's going to be 50% off today only if you check out that very first link in the description. Hope you guys can check that out. Let's get started. So the first bad habit that you see a lot of people do is that they have this drag at the top of the route. Now, this specific route right here is the type of drag that I'm okay with, and that doesn't necessarily make a difference. But when you drag your feet on a cut, a lot of people are like, oh, well, that helps you slow down. You don't need to drag your feet when you cut, right? I'm sure everybody saw that video. I believe it was Travis Kelce, where it's at that tight end university, and he's talking about route running, talking about breaks. He doesn't mention anywhere that you want to drag your feet to slow down. He talks about slamming your feet into the ground. He talks about angling your feet, but nowhere does he mention reach out for the cut and drag. When you guys drag to slow down, and it's a big drag, that's when it's a problem. When it's a drag just because you're dropping, that's not an issue. So we look at this route right here. You see when this receiver drops. This is in stride and his pad level doesn't change. This is when the drag's okay because it's not a huge drag to slow himself down. His hips are the thing that slows himself down here. That foot just kind of drags along, but it's not necessarily he's dragging to slow down. The issue I have with the drag is when guys will go out for this cut right here, but they overdo it. They reach and then their chest leans back, because when you guys reach out and you drag your feet, that's an indicator to this DB that you're going to be making a break. Imagine if you're running a curl route and at the top of the break, you reach out at the last second and you drag your back foot and your pad level comes straight up in the air. DB's sitting on that thing. He's not thinking vertical. You want to be sudden with your breaks. You want to try to, even this drag right here off the route, I know this route worked, and yes, we were able to get out of this thing efficiently and create a lot of space. However, you want to try to eliminate any drag that you can at the top of the break. I get it. It helps. For sure, it helps, right? Just like slowing down before the top of a route helps. But if you guys can eliminate drag steps and you guys can eliminate and try to be a little bit more powerful with your steps and trusting your hips more and actually picking up your feet, trust me, your breaks are going to be a lot faster and you're going to be more efficient. Why would you want to slow yourself down? I don't think you want to slow yourself down. I want to create energy at the top of the break. That's the attitude you have to have. Yes, obviously you have to slow yourself down, but my hips want to be the thing that drop. I want to drop into this explosive position because that explosive position creates energy. And if you're picking up your feet, not dragging your feet and making this over-exaggerated drag, again, like I said, this is one of those drags that's fine because he does ultimately end up picking his feet up and creating energy. But we want to try to eliminate that the best we can when we're working out, right? When I'm training, I'm going through routes, I'm running route trees, going through drills, whatever it is. I don't want to have a drag on every single cut that I do. That's not going to get you any better. We want to try to eliminate the drag. Make these breaks when you're training as hard as possible, so when you get into an actual game, you're comfortable with the uncomfortable. You're comfortable getting into a break and just popping this thing off, picking up your feet, running in, and then running out of the break, okay? So that's the number one most common bad habit, is receivers over-exaggerate the drag. A little drag is fine, but we can't consciously be thinking about, okay, I'm going to drag my back foot here, give this huge indicator, let everybody in the whole stadium know that I'm going to be making a break so I can get out of this thing. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. This is, like I said, this is one of the drags that's okay because it's subtle and it's not a drag to slow you down. It's just a drag because you're in stride. It's almost just along for the ride, okay? So now, second most common bad habit that we see is wasted steps at the top of a route, okay? So now this is common when guys aren't really necessarily driving off of their cuts. It's easy fix, easy mistake. Let's watch the thing full speed. So this is going to be a diamond release here, and we're just going to be looking at these extra steps that we take at the top of this break. So when I come off here and I take 3 steps on a 45-degree angle, and I'm attacking this DB's outside shoulder, trying to get his hips to turn, they call this a diamond release, right? I want to make sure, and this goes for any cut. This goes for an out route. This goes for a post route. This goes for just a regular slant, regular 5-yard out, whatever it is. I can't have those wasted steps at the top of the break. Now, when I say wasted steps, I'm not talking about a comeback or a curl, right? A comeback or a curl, if you're taking 5 steps, that's 100% okay, as long as you're eliminating time spent. We don't want any wasted time. But when I'm going off of a single speed cut, and I'm just trying to pop my foot in the ground and go, I can't have any wasted steps because the wasted steps equals wasted time. So when we come off here, 1, 1, 2, 3. You see how when we make this break, I take these 2 extra steps. Those 2 extra steps already got to be down that 45 so I could accelerate to the ball, because that's not going to give this DB enough time to react. Now, when I make that break and I hit that single step, how we fix that is when you guys make this stick and it's supposed to be a speed cut, it's not necessarily like a weight drop. You know what I'm saying? It's just a sudden cut and you're pushing off of this leg. You're pushing off of that like inside arch of your foot so you can actually open up this hip and actually pump those arms and drive out. So anytime you guys are making a cut, as soon as you pop that foot in the ground, you want to stay committed to the break, but you also want to push off of that cut, because when you can push off of that cut, that eliminates that extra time spent at the top. Now, you don't want to push too early. You don't want to go to this cut, so you don't want to be running up to this cut but already be concerned with getting out of it and already turn your upper half because you're so concerned with pushing, because that's not going to make your cut sudden. You want to commit to the break and then you're pushing. Commit to that break, then I'm pushing off the inside arch to eliminate the wasted steps at the top. And another thing you could do is don't let my hands go dead. The second you make that break, you should be taking this left arm and ripping that elbow almost like you're trying to elbow somebody behind you to get your hips down that 45-degree angle so you can accelerate out. So the second most common bad habit is the wasted steps at the top of a speed cut break or a stick, because you're not pushing and driving off that cut and running your arms out of there. Make sure that you're able to do that, because we want to give this DB least amount of time possible to react. He's doing the exact same thing we're doing. He's trying to eliminate steps. He's trying to eliminate time at the top of his break. So I got to make, and that's why DB's so hard, because he's reacting off us. And again, I've said it a million times before. It's not about what he does right. It's about what we do wrong. And if I make a mistake, then he's going to be all over this thing, because trust me, DB's, that's why it's such a hard position. But they're looking for any little mistake that we make, and those extra steps at the top of the break is a perfect opportunity for them to recover from the separation that we created with my stem, with my release, whatever it is, and then they can drive on the ball. So make sure that we eliminate that extra time at the top. Let's watch this thing full speed again one more time. Just make sure that we're out of it, in and out. It's a great release. Just make sure that we're not wasting any time at the top of the break. Okay, so now, the third most common bad habit that I see is that guys lean back on a press release and it doesn't help them restack right away. And it lets this DB have more time to react. Again, it's about what we do wrong, not what they do right. So let's watch the release here. To the untrained eye, that looks like a great release. But you see how wide his stem is. And yeah, we got a ton of separation here, right? It's a hell of a route. I'm not even complaining about the route. It worked, right? So that's all that really matters. But on a specific route where, and we talked about this the other day, I just didn't want to use the same clip, where when you lean back off of a press and you try to avoid the hands, you try to step back and then you're trying to restack, it makes you go super wide. You got to stay in this explosive pad level position. So when I restack, I stay skinny. I stay like right here. I'm hip to hip with this guy so I could get him trailing me. I break to the post, I snap it down. I could get as much separation as possible. So he does a great job stepping outside of his frame. God, I love this, right? But now when I step outside of his frame, what's going to happen when he shoots a hand and I try to lean back? You see how his pad level goes straight up in the air, right? So what that does, I'm not going forward on this. I'm not driving off of the cut like we just talked about in the last clip here. I want to make sure I keep my pad level forward. If I get him to shoot this way and I want to take an inside release, I want to keep a good pad level and know that, hey, if I'm gonna beat his hand technique here, I just got to beat that inside hand. So if I keep my chest forward, stay in a good pad level, maybe I just dip my shoulder and go. Maybe I swat with this hand. Maybe I rip underneath my right hand, whatever it is, but I can't lean back because I'm trying to get right here. But because I leaned back, I wasn't able to get there. So I took this long bowed out around release. So that's the third most common mistake guys make, is they lean back off of a release and they don't go forward. You guys got to get up into the route. If I take too long with the route, that screws up timing with my quarterback. My quarterback expects me to be at a certain spot at a specific time. And especially on a route like a post curl where I'm here, he needs me right there right now, because chances are we're waiting for like a linebacker to clear out and he's hitting this window. And if that linebacker clears out and you're not in that window, that allows maybe the middle backer to shoot over, that allows maybe a safety to come down and cover this thing. So I got to make sure that I get upfield, get up into my stem as quick as possible, and I can't lean back on this route. Let's watch this thing again full speed one more time. Make sure that when you guys make a move, my chest doesn't pop up and my pad level doesn't go straight up in here, so I could restack and create as much separation as possible. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, fellas, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. I always appreciate the feedback, always appreciate any suggestions. Really means a lot to me. It helps me come up with new ideas. So again, I appreciate that a ton. And again, fellas, 50% off sale today. Only our 20 press releases program. It's going to be 50% off. What you'll get access to is a 48-minute long video where we break down 20 press releases, right? It's 20, the releases I haven't even talked about on this channel. Nobody talks about these releases, when to use it, the specific technique to each one, and drills specifically with sets and reps to work on each drill. So I hope that can give you value. Hope you guys can check out that very first link in the description. Again, 50% off today only. I'll see you guys next time.